man? It's your boy Sam at More Life One. I got my guy Matthew at Star Conscious. Bro, what's going on, man? How was your draft weekend, man?
Oh man, it was good. Me, cover, Florida State, FSU Wire, and also, the Cowboys. So I was a busy man writing and watching. So I'm actually glad it's over. But it was a fun filled weekend. It's one of my
Bro,
favorite
I'm
times of the year.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. The NFL is amazing. I get to about I think I get to about round four every year, either round four or about the middle of round three. And I'm like, why am I watching this? Because it's like 400 players go get drafted. Only like 50 of them gonna really be good, like that we might hear over the next 3 years, maybe 20. Like it don't really be that many. Like, but we're watching every player come off the board, and people are like, "Yeah, that dude there, that's the one right there. Yeah, this guy, that's
Right.
the one." Like, do people ever go back and go read their old like draft takes?
Yeah, I actually have gone back and done it a few times to see like how wrong I was about guys. It's like, wow, man, we really drinking some Kool-Aid sometimes.
I remember
But
the Jaguars drafted Rashad Green. I thought Rashad Green was gonna play like 10 years in the NFL. Like I was
I
like,
did too.
I
I
like this
did too.
dude gonna play 10 years. He was so good at Florida State. But
Yeah. I
the NFL though is weird because whatever your draft evaluation is, it's like you can't really run from it for the most part. Like that's normally who you become is who they evaluate you at. And a lot of people get upset with the evaluators that be doing these evaluations, but nobody ever come back and be like, "Damn, that evaluation was right." You know what I'm saying? Like nobody ever come
right.
back with it when that evaluation actually hits. Nobody ever comes back and be like, "Damn, that dude was right about that."
Yeah, because like they're like so focused on the fact that they don't like a certain guy that most people like,
Right.
and then once he goes to the league and he doesn't, perform like he's supposed to, you go look at the notes the guy had. Oh yeah, well he didn't do that, didn't do that, didn't do this. So he actually was kind of right.
Yeah, yeah. Because that was the
Yeah,
big thing with Rashad Green when he came out. They were saying how he wasn't like a really good, like tough catch guy, catching traffic. He kind of struggled with catching in traffic and stuff like that. And I was like, man, he always made big plays. But then when you
right.
really think about his career when it wasn't always the highlights, you're like, you know what? Yeah, he would kind of drop the ball sometimes every now and then when he's
Yeah,
going across the middle. He would, you know what I'm saying? Then you get in the pros, it gets amplified. So it's like
right.
that's the most fascinating thing about the draft. You had any more takeaways from the draft? I mean, other than the Shador
Uh,
thing, that was
yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the Shador thing is going to be the headline for the draft. I think the fascinating thing to me was, bro, honestly, was how many good players were still available on day three.
right.
Like a lot of running backs dropped, a lot of receivers dropped, a lot of defensive tackles dropped. So there was some really good players left on day three. So I was just kind of surprised that so many guys that had like day two grades were still there on day three.
Yeah, I think normally I think like because a draft can be considered weak per se, that means the evaluations kind of go all over the place because
Hmm.
now people kind of they're not really evaluating by um what I guess what you would determine like what the media market would say. They're more so evaluating by what guy can actually come in and help me play, like help us
Hmm.
instead of
Right.
Kenny's got to be a all pro. I don't think they really saw a lot of all pros in the draft this year. So it was a
Yeah.
fascinating draft, man. I thought the Shador thing was fucking crazy. It was crazy to me.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen guys drop in the draft, but I've never seen a guy drop that far in the
Yeah.
draft. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And
That was crazy.
yeah. Yeah. It was definitely crazy, man. It's crazy because when you talk to a lot of evaluators, a lot of them only need guys with first round grades.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
not even half. That wouldn't even take up half of the whole round. So there wasn't a lot of like real blue chip guys that stuck out this year. Besides, the handful of obvious guys like the Shadors and the Gentees and the Travis Hunters and Adu Carters and all that. But there wasn't a whole lot of big blue chip guys that they thought had first round grades.
Yeah, let's talk about while we're on the drive. Let's talk about AZ going to the Jets and Former going to the Patriots. I thought that was pretty cool. What you thought about that?
I actually, you know what, man? I actually thought Thomas was going to go in the second round. I was actually kind of surprised that he was there in the third. I just
You
the reason
should
why
listen to
the say
listened
again,
to the we did a pod on it. Me and gosh, what's my guy name? I forgot my guy name. Anyway, we did a pod
Clay.
on we talk about what yeah, Clay. Me and Clay was on here
Uh,
talking about it. And we thought we thought he was going in the 50s too. I think we did say 50s. I knew he
hmm
was gonna fall further though, because the way they was talking, like I said, he didn't have a specific fit because he can only do one thing. And when you can only do one thing, it gets hard to kind of pin you where you going at. Because in the NFL, the more you can
Yeah.
do, the more valuable you are. So yeah, I'm sorry though. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh no, you good. No, I thought he was going to be I thought he was going to be a second round guy, but I mean I knew he was going to be a day two draftee. I didn't think he was going to fall, further than the third. Um, but I mean, that's pretty much right about where we should have went second, third round. And I think he has the potential to turn into a really good pro, but he's going to have to, like you said, expand his game. You can't just be a one trick pony in the league. Because more than
Yeah,
likely you're more than likely not going to stay with one team.
right.
That's just the way the NFL goes now, which means you're gonna have different coordinators, you have different schemes. You're gonna get to a
Mm,
point where you might be an older guy, and they bringing in new guys to run a different thing that could phase you
right.
out. So it's really important in the league to like diversify your game because you can get into the league doing one thing, but once you get there, like you can't be a one trick pony really at no position, honestly. So I think that's the one thing that's going to be key for him when he gets there is add more twos to his two bag.
Yeah, we had him pegged. I know somebody asked me, I don't know if it was in the questions. They were like teams that are really fit. But I actually think he went to the perfect fit for him, to be honest with you, because if Aaron Glenn run the defense that he ran at Detroit, which
hmm
that could be up in the air because he could give the defense to the guy he hired, Steve Wilkes. And I don't really know a lot about Wilkes. I mean, I know he's at the 49ers, they ran what the 49ers want to run. Like they ran what Kyle Shanahan wanted to run. So I don't know what Wilkes himself likes to run, and I don't know how that's gonna work, but I know Aaron Glenn ran like a strictly man-to-man defense with Detroit. Like it was like we manning up on the outside and we getting after the quarterback. Like we're not gonna do a lot of the zone stuff. So
Right.
if that's true, I do think he's in a perfect place. Him, and then he won't be the number one, so he'll be outside of Sauce.
Exactly.
I think he
hmm
actually start. So I do think he'll start. To be honest with you, and something that works out for AZ is that he's young. I think he's like 20, so AZ's still really
Yeah.
really young. So I really do feel good that he's gonna have an opportunity to have a pretty good career. He's gonna have to play a little bit more physical, but Aaron Glenn's gonna pretty much demand that he be physical. So
hmm
I feel like he's in a
He
good
definitely
direction.
fell to the right coach, though. I will say
Yeah,
that he definitely fell to the right coach. So the deficiency that he does have a guy to coach him up on that stuff. That's got a great reputation. So like you said, it is a great fit for him. I
yeah,
definitely
it's a
agree with
great
that.
fit for AZ. And Josh Foreman went to the Patriots, man. I think the Patriots had like
One of
probably
the best drafts.
probably one of the second
Yeah.
best draft or the best draft, in my opinion. I thought they did a good job to me. I mean, we'll see. I mean, if they can't block for for Drake May, then I take all
Yeah.
that back. But Josh
Yeah.
Farmer going to the Patriots, I thought was like pretty cool.
Yeah, like, and to me with Josh, when it comes to the league, I think he's either gonna hit really big or he's gonna face himself out. I don't think there's no in between with Josh. Like, I
Mm,
don't, and that's just my personal opinion. I really like the
right,
player. I've always liked the player, but there'd be times where he disappeared sometimes too. To me, so
right,
yeah, that'll be the thing when he gets to the league. It's just the consistency part. Because when you watch him play, when he's on, I mean, the guy is an effective D tackle. He can take on double teams. He
right,
can get off the line of scrimmage pretty quick. He has a really good base to work with. Coming to the league, it's just that
right.
the consistency and the relentless motor sometimes I think is what he lacks. That's just my personal opinion about him. Like
You
the
know,
player, but he
yeah.
got to. Yeah.
His pad level, him and Jackson, they pad level was just terrible last year. Like the whole year
Hmm.
it was just bad. They're gonna have to he gonna have to fix that. If he can fix it, and it's funny because they were saying that they do think he's strong, but to me,
It wasn't
I
consistent
well,
though.
yeah, it wasn't consistent, and it's kind of hard for me because I always compare guys to like Tim Jernigan and
Mhm.
Eddie
Oh,
Gold.
yeah. I
Like
mean, we
Eddie
were
and Tim,
we
and
were
then when
we,
I
we were
look
we were so spoiled with them.
right, they could do so much. Like Tim could just do a lot of stuff, and Tim wasn't like a great pro. I mean, he really wasn't. He wasn't a great
No, he
pro. I
wasn't.
mean,
Mm-mm.
but he was so dominant in college, but he wasn't a great pro. Eddie was kind of he reminded me a little bit of like Darnell Jackson when it's like he can show up, then he just
Hmm.
it just go missing. But
Yeah,
when Eddie wanted to make a play, Eddie would just make a play. Where you just be
make a
like, you
play,
got to
right?
have a play. Eddie'll make a play.
Yeah,
So it's like I compare guys to those guys, and those guys are so talented. And Former is just I don't know, man. He went to a place where they're not going to ask him to play every down, but he's going to be
true.
fighting to get on the field.
Hmm.
That's the Patriots. That's playing for variables a little different, man. It's going to be a
They
fight. And somebody was saying this too about this draft class. This is like the real NIL era for draftable guys. Like everybody in this class has collected like NIL money, been in school for a while.
yeah.
Some of them been to 2 and 3 schools, and there was like a lot of that in this particular draft. And it was like it's um it's like they want to see how these guys uh integrate into the NFL because a
Because
lot of
they
these
bounce
guys are
around
used
so
to kind of
much.
cut and bait and going somewhere
Hmm.
else or doing something else. So they were
Yeah,
saying there might be a chance you see a lot of like high turnover
I tell
with
you.
this
Yeah.
draft class where you see like
Hmm.
fifth round, fourth round picks just getting cut completely. So that's
Yeah.
something to watch, for people that care about stuff like that. Was you
Yeah, true.
surprised that those are the only 2 players drafted?
Uh, I don't. I'm not too surprised. I mean, when you look at the other, I think it's like six more guys that got picked up as undrafted free agents. You got DJ, you got if I say I think Ryan Fitzgerald, the kicker, I thought
Yeah,
he probably would have got drafted. Especially coming off the season he had last year. I think he was like what 13 last year or something like that. And
yeah,
maybe him, but when you look at Cam Riley and Cypress and Byers and Kevin Knowles, like I could see those guys either being undrafted or being like late day threes.
right.
So the fact that they went undrafted doesn't surprise me too much. Probably the only one that I thought probably would have been maybe a fifth or sixth round would be Fitzgerald, just because he came off such a year. He got all kind of honors and so I thought maybe him, but the other guys that got picked up as undrafted agents, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I think I thought somebody would take a flyer on Cypress because of his athletic profile. Um Knows I knew knows when he get drafted. I can't think anybody else. Yeah, that yeah, I think two is a problem. And it's something else too because the Big 12 and the SEC because of the money, the stability at coaching, their ability to develop players
It's very
now.
key, the coaching part.
So now all the draft picks, like especially like the top 60 picks or top 100 picks, are like coming from the Big 10 and the SEC now, man.
Yeah,
Uh, Florida State definitely has to get out of this conference, man, because you can see the talent gap is just widening further and further and further and further. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. Like now I think like the ACC. They have a few, top heavy guys, but throughout the conference, it's not as deep as like the SEC and the Big 12.
Yeah.
Like they got guys all positions,
Yeah.
starters, backups, like
Yeah.
they're loaded everywhere. Like even like their backups are getting drafted on day threes and stuff like that. So it's I'm waiting for the day to get out of the ACC. I've been wanting to get out for years now.
Right.
So hopefully that happens sooner than later because yeah, the ACC and Florida State, that's they got to cut bait at some point.
Yeah, they do got to get out of this. They definitely got to get out of this. Definitely got to get out, man. It's but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I think I think it's kind of discouraging that Mike only has had like I think they say Farmer and AZ was the only two guys he had drafted out of his high school recruiting classes.
That is terrible.
Yeah, that's what
That's awful.
I want to say it was AZ and Farmer the only two that's been drafted out of his high school class. Not the Porter classes, just the high school classes.
And that's in a half decade. That is awful.
Yeah. So I mean, he gonna have to fix that. I mean, that's gotta be.
Well, yeah, it just it. I think it goes back to the issue of they haven't been good at getting guys from the high school level, especially at positions like linebacker. I mean, don't even get me started on linebacker position. I've
Right.
been so bad at recruiting that. So like we talked about a few weeks ago, they don't get to where they can get these classes that set this foundation, get 4 or 5 guys that really, really stand out. These blue chip guys that stick around for 3 years. If you don't start getting classes like that, it's just going to be throwing darts at the wall every year. And the schools like the in-state schools like the Miamis and the Floridas are going to start passing you by. You know what I'm saying? Which is going to make it harder to recruit. Right. Let's face it, all 3 of those schools recruit the same areas. You know what I'm saying? The same parts of the country pretty much. So I mean, you see when guys have visits, a lot of them have Florida State, Florida and Miami in their visits like all the time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that goes all the way back to the recruiting on the high school level issue. I mean, to me, they've gotten a little lazy and relied too much on this portal stuff. Like they do so much work and so much attention to the portal, and to me, that screams to the fact that you're not recruiting well, that you're not developing.
Yeah, and something, man. This year, and this year with Florida State, because I think we're going to transition a little bit more to the portal talk and just Florida State's offseason as a whole. It's been dead. It's been really dead. And it's not because they're moving in silence and they got some type of sneak attack going on. It's because they're really not. They brought a new staff in. They're not recruiting that well, to be honest with you. The D-line coach is constantly with him. I mean, he sent out a lot of tweets, and I appreciate that for him, but he's not really getting the linemen. And those guys are like quarterbacks. They commit early. They don't really move around, So I think we lost out to a guy that went to Cal yesterday. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, first of all, why are you in a recruitment against Cal? That's one. Number one. Number two, why are you losing to Cal in a recruitment? That's insane, right?
Yeah.
So
especially school that just spent their first year in your conference, and you're already losing recruiting battles, and that's not good. So
yes, it's terrible, man. So it's really dead. The portal. I know they got a quarterback. Well, you could tell us about the 2 guys they just recently got, because I vaguely know a little bit about them.
Well, Jalen King, the quarterback they got. I mean, to me, that's just a depth guy. I mean, the 2 years that he's played, he's thrown for like 11 and 1,200 yards, and 1 year he had 11 touchdowns. I think 9 interceptions, and the other one was like I think 12 to like 8. So he's like his touchdown interception ratio is basically dead even, which is not good. So he has some talent with his legs. He's run for about 800-900 yards in college. So he fits kind of a Gus Malzahn type of quarterback. So I will understand why they would want a guy like that for depth. But I mean, that didn't move the needle or anything. And Jeremiah Wilson, the cornerback, from what I saw, he has some talent. There were a lot of people that were excited about getting him. I don't know a whole lot about his game. I don't know if you do.
Jeremiah. Yeah, he's pretty good. I know I watched him because they're in the Big 12, if I'm not mistaken. Is Houston in the Big 12?
Houston, they should be. I mean, these conferences change so much.
Man, I think they is, but they may not be. I know I know UCF is. I'm thinking, didn't they go in with UCF? Did they go in with UCF? Was it UCF and Houston? I know they wasn't going to be able to get in the Big 12 as long as Texas or Oklahoma was in there. I do know that, politic wise.
Yeah, they're still in the Big 12. Yeah,
Yeah, they're the Big 12. Okay, so yeah, he was
yeah.
pretty good in the Big 12. I do remember that. Quietly is kept though. That Houston team, a lot of good players leave there to go to other places. They be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had
Yeah,
like a lot of. I know Colorado had a few guys that left from Houston and went to Colorado. That was pretty good for Colorado. So,
yeah.
but Jeremiah Wilson, somebody I know was kind of coveted. A lot of people do like him, and I know that because somebody was like, "Man, why are they recruiting all these DBs, these cornerbacks?" But I think we was on a pod together, and I told you they didn't feel good about cornerback.
Feel good about it. Yeah, you
Yeah, I
did.
kept
You,
saying
you,
that. And
you
they
did. You
didn't feel
did mention
good.
that, and
Yeah,
it's like right after you said that, I started seeing visits and set up with corners and safeties everywhere. So I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, he was right. So
I kept telling
I've been writing about it. So I didn't wrote about quite a few safeties and cornerbacks the last
yeah.
2 weeks.
And I
So
said that on the pod, and people was like arguing me down, like, "Nah, they got your, they just name a bunch of names." I'm like, "Okay, well, all right, well, we'll see." But
I
I know
mean, but my
they didn't
yeah.
feel
Oh,
good
excuse me.
about
I didn't mean to
outside.
cut you
Yeah, they didn't feel good about the outside corners, and I think they feel okay about the slot because I do think you probably can put uh not Rawls, other guy that was
off.
33.
No.
Gosh, man, I'm
Uh,
blanking on all these names, but
no, no, I'm talking about Jones. I know
Edwin,
you're talking about.
Edwin Joseph.
Edmund Joseph. Okay.
Yeah, they feel like he can play a little slot, big, especially if you go big and
Hmm.
you can zone it up a little bit better.
Yeah.
They like him in a slot, and because he's a physical tackler too, so it's almost like a third linebacker.
Yeah.
Um, so I know they do like Joseph, they do like Rawls, they do like these guys, but they're not very confident on what they can do on the outside.
Yeah.
So
And
that
and
bothers
I
me a little bit too, because I'm like, damn, man, like this is Florida. Like you should have,
Florida's a home of DBs.
yeah, man, you should
I mean, the
have
home
these.
of skill positions. Period. So
Yeah, you should have DBs, man. You should be recruiting guys that can just come in and you stick on the outside. But hey, it is what it is at this point. They got to do what they got to do. So
yeah,
they didn't feel good. They don't feel good about the cornerbacks. I do know that. They feel good about the safeties. Like they like the two safeties, but they just don't feel good about the corners, especially on the outside.
yeah,
So Wilson does upgrade that. He does. He's an upgrade for them on the
he's an
outside.
upgrade. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, 'cause I didn't see a whole lot on him, but from what I saw, like people, I didn't see anybody that was down on him, put it like that. I didn't see
yeah,
anybody like who was this guy. They were like, okay, that's a nice guy to bring in. So definitely not nothing negative. So
yeah. And I know they were recruiting some tackles out of the portal, but
yeah, they
I can tell you now though, any tackle they got at the portal is probably not going to be good. It's just
Yeah, I mean, then they got Josh Raymond. He's the guy from Bandy. He's supposed to visit Wednesday. Um, Jalen Caldwell, Grand Valley State. He's visiting in May. I mean, none of those guys moved the needle for me. So
right.
you know, because I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Raymond. He hasn't even seen any college reps yet.
Wow.
Yeah. One of those two. I can't remember which one, but yeah, one of them they haven't even played a down in college yet. So
Wow.
that's not encouraging. Um, yeah, as far as their targets, I know they're after Tony Johnson. The guy from Cincinnati. He had 450 yards last year, 6 touchdowns. And they got two safeties they're looking at. I think his name is Jacoby. I think that's how you
Yeah,
say his
that's the
name.
one that's looking at Miami
Yeah,
also, right?
looking at Miami. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh, the guy that played at Tennessee.
Okay.
Because matter of fact, I think he just set up his announced his visit today. As a matter of fact, it's supposed to be like sometime this week. They just don't have the days. I know the tight end Dylan. I think it's Dylan Hill from Ole Miss. He's supposed to be visiting this
Right.
week. I know tight end is one of the areas that they're trying to really target as far as the portal,
Hmm.
because they only have three guys on scholarship guys on there right now, and
Yeah,
that's lost in
they lost
yeah lost
Biscuit.
in
Biscuit
yeah lost
came,
Biscuit
he
again.
left, came back, he left again.
Yeah, Biscuit came, had a biscuit and left. So
Hey, he was short on
yeah,
his little weight progress. He don't lost some weight. I'm like,
yeah. So because Lofton and Landon Thomas and Ricky Pittman. Those are the only three
yeah,
scholarship
Randy
guys that
Pittman.
they have. Yeah, Randy Pittman. Excuse me. Those are the only three scholarship guys they have, which is that's not
Pretty
good. So
thin. Yeah,
I would understand why they'd be targeting that. So and then they got the cornerback Caleb Brown. I think he's visiting tomorrow. I think
got you.
he's visiting tomorrow. So I mean, no, none of those guys, are like, oh man, like stick out to me or nothing like that. It's just they're just taking flyers on guys to me. I don't know how you feel about them,
Yeah, they pretty much flyers. Let me ask you this question though. So since we at this point in the off season, it's pretty dead. Draft is over now. You know, I think the team they got now is the team they're gonna have. This is my opinion. The team they got right now,
for
this
the
is the
most
team they're
part.
gonna
Yeah,
have. Like, they won't have anybody that's gonna come in and change wins and losses, in my opinion. Right.
yeah,
Um, what is the expectation for Florida State next year? Like, what would be, because something I think is that I find confusing about a fan base is that people keep saying, yeah, he better win 8 games next year, he's gonna be fired. I'm like, I don't see that. I don't see him getting fired if they win 6 games. I don't think he's gonna be fired for that. I think he's gonna have a
yeah,
job. So I think people kind of need to back away from the ledge, because I don't think anything is happening as far as movement of the head coach. I just don't think that's happening. And the main reason I say that, not because if he wins 5 games, 6 games, I'm saying he's doing a good job, because I think he's doing a bad job. I mean, you know,
yeah,
I've done my part to try to get a new coach here. But
yeah,
but my main point is, because they spent $20 million on renovations, another $20 million in these other spots, and another 20 million trying to get out the conference and all the other stuff. I just don't see them hiring a new coach and new staff.
yeah,
So I don't know. I think that our expectations need to be kind of grounded into reality. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, to me, after what happened, I think a lot of that, the darts at Mike come from the fact that last year was so bad and people are still prisoners of that moment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, no, I mean, I don't think anybody thought they were going to be a national championship team last year. Me coming into
Right.
last year, I thought they were a team that had a shot to compete for the playoff. I didn't necessarily think they were
Mhm.
going to make it necessarily. I thought they were just going to have a chance to compete for it. And obviously, by the second game of the season, it was pretty clear that that was going to be the case. But yeah, I don't think that they did all that, bringing in all these new guys, staff wise, and doing all this stuff just to turn around after 1 year. And then let's say he has another bad year this year. I don't think that's enough evidence to completely break away from him. Um, so I think people need to kind of you know don't rush the gun on that. Expectations for me, man. Honestly, if 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 they won 8 games, to me that would be a huge win. Like
Right.
if they were 8-4 at the end of the season, I would be very very pleased.
Right.
Now, do I think that's going to happen? I would probably lean more so no. I probably maybe lean towards like a 6 or 7 win team, just because
Right.
when I look at the team they currently have now, that doesn't give me a whole lot of hope that they're going to be. I mean, I think they'll be competitive, but be one of those
Yeah.
situations where you have talent, you have got to compete, but they don't know how to like finish games and stuff like
I
that.
think they would
You
need
know how it goes.
they would
So
need like crazy good injury luck to win 8 games.
yeah,
So they would have to play some teams that some key guys on the other teams get hurt, and our guys are healthy the whole year for us
yeah,
to for us to win 8 games, in my opinion. I think they feel good about linebacker. I think they feel good about safety. They're going to need good injury luck on the defensive line to be a dominant defensive line. I don't think they're going to be a dominant
yeah.
defensive line. Now, they don't play a dominant schedule, but
True.
in the 50-50 games, you don't have something like you don't have a superpower you going into the games with either.
Exactly.
Right. So you can't just be like, oh, well, we got an offensive line that's gonna be able to
Yeah,
roll
you don't
past
have
me.
no
Or
ace in
you
the
gotta,
hole nowhere.
yeah, you'll have that one superpower that one trump card that you can be like, I got this, and this right here can just win games for me. Like, every year with Clemson, they always have a good defense. They bring a good defense into
Hmm.
the season
Always
every year.
defense. Defense
Doesn't
always
matter.
good.
They're gonna have a great defense, and that's gonna be enough to power them through some games where you would think they
Hmm.
could be 50-50, right? So
All right.
I don't think FSU have that, and they're gonna have to try to win. And I think the most concerning part about this is they're gonna have to start believing they can win again because they lost so much last year. I mean, that's a lot of losing they did last year. Like you talking
Yeah.
about 12 games. They lost 12 games in college football last year. That's pretty insane. That's a
Yeah.
pretty crazy number to lose in college football, no matter what program it is.
Right.
Now, this is a Florida State program. So what happens when you lose 2 games in a row here next year? What do they be like? Oh God, we right back to who we were again? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot of work that's got to be done to get the guys to even start believing that they're winners again. I wouldn't want Mike's job right now, to be honest with you. Like, I think
Yeah. Right.
he's in a hell of a hole, you know?
Yeah. 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 He is. And some of it is being prisoner of your own success.
Right,
Because he had the 22 season, the 10-3 that turned around, and you come back with the undefeated regular season, a team that, regardless of what anybody thinks, that team should have had a shot to at least play in the playoff.
right.
So, and then
That's
you
really
go
not
from
that much success, though. That's the crazy part about that. He won 10 games, he didn't win 12. No,
yeah,
13. 13.
yeah, 10, 10, and
He did
13.
he did that for 2 years. Like, Jimbo was putting up 10-win seasons, and we was like, "What are you
Really?
doing?" You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, he was throwing up 9 to 10-win seasons, and we was kinda like, "Okay, Jimbo, but can you push this
Hmm.
to where we supposed to be, like, where we
Right.
really belong, this
Yeah.
upper echelon of college football?"
Hmm.
Um, so Michael, I mean, and then in college football nowadays, you got the ability to flip it so fast now. And I think that's
Yep.
the more disappointing thing to me is like, why is it so stagnant? It shouldn't be this stagnant. You should be able to flip this in 2 years or a year. You should never
Yeah.
like have a season where you win 2 games. Like, you should be able to constantly build, 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 build. Like, your
Yeah.
fall off shouldn't be what it was last year and what we're looking at currently right now.
Yeah. I mean, you would think with the brand that Florida State is that this tool of using the transfer portal, they would be using it better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially like with how much emphasis that they put on it, you would think there would be more success, but they haven't seen it, and that's been real
And I
disappointing too.
and I don't put a lot of this stuff on these players that they missed, right? These players they missed in high school. To me, I think some of those guys were talented players. I think they just didn't do a really good job of developing guys, and that is on the coach.
Mhm.
So so we got to see, man. They gotta, but it's very stagnant though. It is very stagnant. And I do think apathy is kind of set into the fan base where we're just hoping to have close games
Yep.
and root for something that's a good product.
Yeah.
That should never really be the case at Florida State. You know,
No. No. That's just not acceptable. And you know, and with Mike, like I said, I mean I think a lot of people like Mike Norville, the guy.
right,
He seemed like a guy that you would want around your kids, a guy that you would want to send your kid to for 2 or 3, 4 years to,
right,
develop as not just a player but a person. But at some point, that's fine and all that, but it all comes down to what happens between, you know,
right,
that 100 yard by 53 yard field. Like, what are
right.
you doing there? And like, why are you this bad at recruiting? Like, why
Right.
are you having this much turnover with guys entering the transfer portal? Like, why can't guys get developed? Like, that's all under your watch, and you have to
Yeah.
figure out these answers. You have to figure them out fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's gonna be the biggest thing. I think that as far as expectations for the season, I think it's gonna boil down to two things. Is the offense scoring points, right? I think it's gonna be like that's gonna be like the Richter scale. Like if the offense is scoring points and he wins 6 games, 7 games, I think he's gonna be as safe as can be. I think he's safe regardless. Like I'm one of the people. I think he would have to have like another 2-12 season to even for it to really come up that he needs to be fired. That's what I think will have to happen.
Yeah.
But I think he's gonna have to. The offense is gonna have to score points, man. They're gonna have to be good on offense. If they're good on offense, I think he'll be fine. I think they're gonna win 7 games next year, and I think you just gotta hope that they don't get embarrassed against Bama,
Bama,
Florida,
Florida,
Clemson.
yeah,
I
Miami.
think you'll punch with Miami this year. I think Miami got better players than you, but I think you'll punch with Miami. I
Right,
don't think they'll blow you off the field.
right.
But you're gonna have to save yourself from embarrassment against Bama, Florida, Clemson. Clemson will be the best team you play this year, I think.
Yeah,
Talent wise, they'll have the most talent this year.
most talent. Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm saying that now. I think Bama's gonna be good, but I don't know what they look like at the quarterback position. I think they're gonna be better at the quarterback position than they was last year, but
yeah,
I ain't think much of Miro. But that's how that's gonna go. What
yeah.
you think?
Feel you on that. Yeah. You know, I say I'm about there with you. Like I say, I'm more of a 6-7 win. If they get to that, that would be a positive step. I mean, 'cause people gotta understand, man. You know, when you're starting at 2 wins, you know, what I'm saying, it's not like we're coming in off of 10, 11 wins, 9 wins. Like we're coming off of two. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then you got to factor in that you're not recruiting well.
Right.
You're not doing well in the portal.
Right.
So it's like, you can't just, and some people do because they're just those type of fans, but you can't just start going back. Okay, we gonna win 9, 10 games. We gonna compete for the ACC and this and that. Like I'm not there yet. It's just if they get a 6 or 7 win season and make a bowl game, that would be a positive direction for me because when you're starting at two, 'cause I've been watching football for a long time, 30 something years, and I've seen too many times where a team have a couple years where they do good, then they have one bad year, and then that next year when they're rebounding, people want to go back like no, chill out, like come back down, look at your team, look at what they're doing.
Right.
Look at what they lost. Like, look at their staff. Look at how they're developing. Look at how to recruit. You got to look at all that stuff. You start talking about expectations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean they've had a full reset this season. I mean this off season.
Yeah, you revamp both sides of the coaching staff. So like so now you got like reset when it comes to recruiting. These guys got they kind of guys that they want to get in. They have a different philosophies and all that. So it's it's an interesting time for Florida State right now. They,
Yeah,
they, they, they should be able to turn around faster. I do agree with that with you. It should be taking this long, but they're not. It shouldn't be panic mode yet, but it should be mini panic mode to me.
right.
Not like
Hey
a
man,
full panic, but you should that little voice in your head should be loud.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
you're a brave man, dude. How you got that heat hat on, bro? This is a melee that's going on right now, bro.
Hey man, look, you're there with the good times and in the bad times, man. It's
I get
just
mad at my team for just winning games in the NBA. I'd be so mad at Chicago. I'm like, dude, why can't y'all just bottom the roster out? How hard is this? How hard is it to tank? It's not hard to tank, people. Tank,
yeah.
tank, tank,
I
tank.
mean, it's just so different now seeing them as because even once Braun left and Wade and Bosh and all that, we were still a regular playoff team that compete. maybe second round, have a chance to get to the conference final, made a couple finals. But now we're just like every year it's just we're in the play-in,
Right.
fighting to get an AT, and then when we get in there, we get knocked out the first round. So it's like
I mean,
you know
I don't know that the biggest mistake Riley made, and this is that I can't really get past because I think Riley's a good ass executive. I think he's a good executive. I think he's been good for Miami Heat. I really do. So I don't understand how he passed on Devin Booker though. That'll never make sense to me. I'm like, how could you not look at Devin Booker and say this dude can be an next D
that
Wade?
that's I mean he's a walking bucket,
I don't understand that one.
like walking bucket.
That's a fascinating
And,
thing to me.
and me, I knew things had changed when all the talks about KD and the talks about Damon Lillard and all that, and like everybody that's rumored to us, they all go somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's kind of like like the Heat name get thrown in there to kind of like ruffle feathers. Oh, Pat Riley and them in on it. So then next thing you know, 2 days later, these same dudes they end up getting signed somewhere. As soon as the Heat name
They
gets
hit
thrown in
that one time with LeBron. Now everybody think everybody gonna come there. It's
there,
just
yeah,
never
it's not different.
ever
Yeah,
happens. I
not
would
like
love for
that.
KD to go there though to finish
Me
his career.
too. Me too. That's he's like the guy that I wanted to get here
I think it's gonna end
for a
up in
while.
Houston though. I think, but he would be better in Miami. But I just don't think he gonna want to play for Pat and.
For Pat, yeah.
But if I was KD, just me. If it's me, I'm KD. You can go to Miami.
No state tax.
You'll have a chance to me to compete to go to the finals because
Yeah,
if they keep Bam and they keep Hero and you trade some of the pieces around, Spo can make the rest of it work. He elevates
exactly.
role players. He
Yes, he does.
just can't win
Yes,
without
he does.
stars. You can't win without stars in the
Yeah,
NBA, man.
you can't. Especially NBA. I mean, that's a star-driven league, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta have guys in the
Yeah. So I guess I had one question somebody asked me. I guess I answered this on the pod. Somebody asked me about Travis Hunter. How's that gonna work with Travis Hunter and with the Jaguars? Um,
NBA.
and they said they're gonna put him on offense first. And I thought about this. I was like, dang, why would they do that? Because he's gonna be a better cornerback than me. If he played cornerback, he'd be a better
Me
cornerback.
too. I'll probably be a better
And
cornerback.
Jacksonville got a bigger need at cornerback. So why would they start him at
Thank
wide
you.
receiver? But what I think he's saying is the head coach is like, I'm the offensive coordinator. So the offense is not going to really change. So once he learned the offense the first year,
Mm,
like once he learned the offense and mastered the offense his first year, his second year, he can become more cornerback. So
okay.
it's a plan to integrate him on both sides, I think. And it's a 2-year plan instead of like put everything on the first year. So I think he's going to play 100% wide receiver and 50% cornerback
Okay.
next year. That's what I think personally. I think the 50% is going to come against divisional rivals. So the second time they
Yeah.
play Houston, the second time they play
Hmm.
Tennessee, the second time they play the Colts, he'll be playing 100% of the snaps against them because those are teams you're gonna get more familiar with. You're gonna be used to
Hmm.
playing them.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's gonna happen with the Travis Hunter situation. But
I'm just. He's like um, he's like, of course, the one guy I'm looking at. Like, I'm so excited to see how he's gonna transition. I think he's gonna transition well. I think he's gonna be a star, but I just because to me he just feel like he loved football, man. Like he just
yeah, man, he is a
you know what I'm
junkie.
saying?
Yeah, he a
Yeah, like
junkie.
he's a junkie type dude, like a throwback. Like he's all football all the time, and he just it's something about him that's real infectious, man. You seem like he just rubs off on people. So
Yeah,
I think
they say he's like 100% in his hyperbaric chamber at the
hmm
house, go fishing, play his video games, football the rest of the
football,
time. So,
right? Yeah.
you know, I think as long as he can keep his personal life together, however that shit work out for him, hopefully he
Mhm.
get all that figured out for himself. But I think if he figure out the personal life stuff, I think he's gonna be all right. I think
Oh yeah,
so. I'm just worried about it's Jacksonville, man. So it's like, man, can we
yeah.
please put the stuff around this dude that he can reach his full potential? Or
Please
can we at least get a
do
window of
not
his
waste that
potential?
talent.
Can I get
Yeah,
3 years of like something crazy.
Yeah, but
3 years.
before he goes somewhere to other franchise and really
Yeah.
prosper. Yeah. Give me something, man. He just too good a talent to be one of them guys where he was always with a certain organization. He's always losing. He never had a chance to play in the playoffs. Never had a, what I'm saying? You want guys like that to play in meaningful
Yeah.
games. You want
'Cause I
guys
mean,
like that to be in the playoffs and
I
stuff. So
thought Trevor was gonna be well. I still think Trevor's good, but I thought it would be better. But they haven't helped him a lot either. But I also think he could be better. But I don't know if that's just if that like sometimes I think this stuff is like a franchise thing. Like
yeah,
certain programs people go to, they maximize the potential of their first round draft picks, and other teams don't do it. You know, so I mean, when I've seen Trevor when he's on, like when they was making that playoff run that first year on the Doug, and that
right.
second half or the first half of the next season, he was playing good. It's like, okay, this dude is like a top 10 quarterback. But it's so hard to get those guys to stay at that level because that means you got to put things around them. Your head coach got to be, your offense coordinator got to be innovating around them. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's tough though. It's tough. But I think with him and he got Brian Thomas Jr.
Right. Tell
and
me,
Travis
yep.
Hunter now. I mean, they gotta still gotta find a way to run the ball. If they can run the ball, he gonna have a chance to be
Yeah,
good, personally.
yeah.
So
They can get a halfway decent run game. He'll have a chance.
yeah, man. It's easier said than done, I tell you that, man. But I'm
Yeah,
about to
for real.
sign off, man. You got anything else?
No, man, that's it for me. It was pretty much, the draft is in the portal. So, yeah, man, this is like the kind of like the dog days right now because there's not a whole lot going on. So, hopefully some
It
things will
sure
kick
is.
up
All right, man. Heat culture signing out.
here. Sign out for real. We really about to sign out here in a minute. Until next season, we about to really sign out. Lockers getting cleaned out, everything real
Yes, sir.
soon.
What they say? 1, 2, 3, Cancun.
1, 2, 3, Cancun for sure. Cancun, Costa Rica, Hawaii, wherever you want to go. They waiting on you right
All
now.
right.
All right,
All right, man. Y'all be good.
all right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.